January 14th, 2023. Gate 43, JFK Airport. A woman clutches her boarding pass. It reads, Zone 9, rear cabin, no legroom, no meal. She sighs, eyes scanning the crowded gate. Meanwhile, just 20 feet away, someone else boards first class early. They're handed a glass of champagne, shown to a seat that lies flat like a bed, and offered a hot towel. Two people, same plane, but two completely different worlds. What she didn't know is this. The gap between them isn't random. It's not an accident. It's a calculated design by the very airlines you trust. They've quietly reshaped how flying works. And the more you get squeezed in the back, the more they profit up front. It's a strategy, and you might be the one paying for it. So before your next flight, watch this video until the end. Because the real reason economy keeps getting worse might leave you furious. And once you know it, you'll never see your boarding pass the same way again. Here's something most flyers never realize. Since the year 2000, your economy seat has shrunk. The average seat has lost 2 inches of width and 3 inches of legroom. That's not just a number, it's your knees pressed into hard plastic for 5 hours. Meanwhile, up front, business class has nearly tripled in size. Wider seats, full recline, private pods. Even though you're getting less, you're actually paying more than ever before. Ticket prices in economy may seem cheap, but hidden fees, checked bag costs, and cramped upgrades turn that bargain into a profitable trap. This isn't by mistake. It's a strategy. Squeeze the majority so a few pay more for comfort. But here's the bigger question. Why would airlines deliberately make flying worse for most people? The answer reveals a business model built on discomfort, and it starts with something called calculated misery. Let's be real, economy class feels like the main product of air travel. But in the eyes of the airline, it's barely worth anything. Here's the truth. On a typical $200 economy ticket, the airline might make just $10 in profit, sometimes even less. By the time they pay for fuel, crew, airport fees, and maintenance, there's almost nothing left. That's why airlines no longer see economy as a moneymaker. It's now treated like a filler, a way to cover basic costs while pushing you toward upgrades. The goal isn't to make you happy in economy, it's to make you uncomfortable enough to pay extra next time. But if economy isn't making the money, where does the real profit come from? A single business class seat can earn 4 to 10 times more than one in economy. That means a half-empty front cabin can make more profit than a full economy section. It's why airlines are now obsessed with the wealthy, not families, not students, but corporate clients, frequent flyers, and those willing to pay for peace. On some routes, 70% of the airline's revenue comes from just 20% of the seats. That's why first and business class keep getting bigger, better, and more luxurious. While economy keeps shrinking, to the airline, you're not the customer. The person sipping champagne in row 1 is. But even luxury has limits. How far can this go before passengers fight back? You hear it before you even board. Group 1 now boarding, then Group 3, Group 5, Group 9. It's not just a boarding order, it's a public ranking, a quiet reminder of where you stand. The emotional tone is clear. Premium gets priority. Basic economy waits, squeezes in, and hopes for overhead space. And here's the real punch. Many economy tickets don't even include seat selection anymore. You're paying, but still powerless. It's starting to feel less like travel and more like social class theater at 35,000 feet. You see the curtain, you see the separation, and you can't help but wonder, is this by design? Spoiler, it is. But if economy is this unfair, why do millions still book it, flight after flight? The answer may surprise you. Think about it. You buy a ticket, then pay for a seat, a bag, a meal, even early boarding. This isn't chaos. It's by design. Airlines call it unbundled pricing, but internally, some refer to it as calculated discomfort. Make economy just bad enough that you'll pay to escape it. The worse your experience feels, the more likely you are to upgrade next time. Not because you need luxury, but because you're desperate to feel human again. It's not just pricing, it's psychology. You've been trained to expect less and pay more. But with all this obvious manipulation, Why aren't passengers revolting? Why is this model still working? Well, it turns out we're not the customer airlines care about most anymore. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Four major airlines control over 80% of U.S. air travel. That's not a market. It's a monopoly in disguise. With so little competition, there's no real pressure to improve your experience and economy. In fact, it's easier and more profitable to keep cutting. You might think, what about low-cost carriers? Mini twist, they've copied the same playbook. Smaller seats, endless fees, same psychology, just with cheaper branding. You're not really choosing a better flight. You're choosing which discomfort you'll tolerate. While passengers are squeezed in the back, massive investments are flowing somewhere else entirely. So if airlines aren't improving economy, where is all the money going instead? While economy is shrinking, the sky is rising for the few who can afford it. Airlines like Emirates, Singapore, and even Delta now offer flying hotels with private suites, queen-size beds, personal showers, and sliding doors. While you're paying $60 for a carry-on, someone else is sipping champagne after limo service straight to the jet bridge. And it's not cheap. Mini twist. Some first-class tickets now cost over $20,000 and still sell out. This isn't just service, it's status. But wait, weren't airlines hit hard during COVID? Weren't they losing billions? Just as passengers were told to be patient during flight delays and staff shortages, airlines were quietly reinvesting in ultra-luxury cabins at record levels. So where did they get the money? And what happened to all that we're barely surviving messaging? After the pandemic, business travel plummeted, but airlines didn't pivot to economy. They doubled down on a new goldmine: premium leisure travelers, wealthy tourists willing to splurge. These passengers spend more, complain less, and often book upgrades without blinking. Instead of adding more affordable seats, airlines began removing rows, creating fewer total seats, but charging higher prices overall. This wasn't a reset, it was a restructure. So what does this mean for the rest of us? Is there any real future left for economy class at all? Airlines have started stripping economy bare. No recline, no screens, no snacks. Even overhead bins now come with a price tag on airlines like JetBlue. This isn't random discomfort, it's strategic suffering. The more unpleasant economy feels, the more likely you are to pay extra next time. Flying used to be a journey. Now for many, it's just endurance in a metal tube. Where does it all lead next? Airlines now use AI algorithms to adjust prices based on your location, browsing history, and even income signals. Two people sitting side by side might have paid hundreds of dollars apart for the exact same flight. This isn't just dynamic pricing, it's data-driven class separation. You're not just buying a ticket, you're being profiled and ranked. Who's really controlling this shift, and why are we letting it happen? If you've ever felt like airlines don't care about you in economy, it's because they don't. Economy passengers aren't the priority, you're the product. Airlines today make far more money from what happens around the flight than the flight itself. Behind the curtain, it's not about your $199 ticket. It's about the credit card you signed up for, the frequent flyer miles you chase, and the loyalty data they mine and sell. They've built entire empires from co-branded credit card partnerships, not just transportation. In 2022, some major U.S. airlines made more money from credit card programs than from flying planes, literally. So when you feel like economy is shrinking while premium keeps expanding, that's not an illusion, it's strategy. Which leads to the final, uncomfortable truth. If you're not flying to be pampered, you're flying to be monetized. The era of the middle-class traveler is vanishing. Air travel is rapidly becoming a two-class experience. One that's fast, seamless, and luxurious, with private suites, priority lanes, and exclusive lounges. And another that's crowded, delayed, and stripped bare. No snacks, no recline, and fees for everything. Here's the secret no one tells you. This was never about cost, it's about control. They've turned discomfort into strategy. Every inch of legroom you lose, every delay you suffer, every bag fee you pay, it's engineered pressure to push you toward paying more next time. Meanwhile, algorithms predict your limits and loyalty programs track every move. But knowledge is leverage. When you understand how the system works, you stop being manipulated by it. You don't have to accept the bottom tier as default, because the game was rigged. But now you see the board. Flying used to be magical. The thrill of takeoff, the awe of seeing clouds below, the quiet promise of arriving somewhere new. Now, for many it feels like survival. A cramped seat, hidden fees, and a countdown until landing. Somewhere along the way, air travel stopped being about people and started being about profit. But here's the part they never wanted you to figure out. Every boarding zone, upgrade option, and seat fee isn't random. It's part of a strategic design to upsell, divide, and rewire your expectations. And now, you see the blueprint. You're not just a passenger, you're the product. But awareness is power. Behind the curtain of airline economics is a game of psychology, class signaling, and silent trade-offs. But now that you know how it works, you can navigate it smarter and speak up louder. Like this if you've felt the shift in flying. Comment your worst economy experience. You're not alone. Subscribe if you're ready to expose what they don't want you to see next. Because the cabin may be tight, but your vision just got wide open.